Hey, what's up? It's Deanna, and today I'm going to show you how to pack antique glass and antique porcelain. And for our example today, I have an antique Chinese vase made out of brass. And this one's probably about the early 1900, probably 1900 to 1920. Now, it's not made out of glass and it's not made out of porcelain, but nonetheless, it'll give you an idea because I don't really want to play around right now with anything fragile. So I'm going to use this as our example. So say you have an antique glass vase or one made out of porcelain, and you need to ship it to another state, and you need to secure it in a box and make sure that it does not arrive to your buyer broken. Now, the problem is with that is that you're going to use a shipping carrier, whether it be FedEx, UPS, or United States Postal Service. And even though you put it in a box and you think your item is secure, it's not. And a lot of times the boxes get thrown as they're packed onto the planes, or they're packed into trucks and cars and whatever means of transportation they use to transport from hub to hub. And another thing that happens is they're placed onto conveyor belts. And the conveyor belts, sadly, are very high up. And I've heard stories about that they're equivalent to a one-story building or higher. A lot of times these items fall from the conveyor belt and they end up falling from one story, and even though you have your item in a box, it's going to end up broken. So here's how you can secure your item. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look for some kind of tissue paper, whether it could be this type of tissue paper, or you can even use paper towels. And so you're going to wrap it in the tissue or paper towels, and that'll protect if it has any kind of decals on it or painting or any kind of thing that can rub off. It'll protect it from rubbing against the bubble. And then what you're going to do is, now if it has a long sinewy neck or a narrow neck like you saw here, you're going to actually you're going to take your bubble wrap, and always use bubble wrap. Try not to use newspaper as padding. It does not work very well. And you're going to turn it into like a long thin strip. So you're going to roll it until it's flat, and it's a long thin strip. Now my example is not very good right now because I'm doing this with one hand and I'm filming with the other, and I just wanted to give you an idea. So around the neck area, you're going to make like a little collar out of bubble wrap. So you're going to wrap the bubble wrap around the collar, and I'm not doing it very well with one hand over here. I don't have a tripod. So you're going to have that bubble wrap wrapped around the collar going all the way up. So if the rest of, say, your vase is wider than the top, you need to make it all the same width going across. So keep wrapping your bubble wrap around the item and make it an equal width from the rest of the object. And I just put it on this spot, but you go all the way up and keep doing it until it's the same width across. Once you do that and you have this taped into place, you're going to place it in the center of your bubble wrap. And again, this is a bad example because I'm doing this with one hand. And you're going to wrap your bubble wrap around it. Tight enough, but not too tight, so you don't stress the object. And then you're going to tape it securely, but not too much tape where your buyer has to take a knife and slice through it and possibly chip or crack or slice through your item. Once it's packed and cushioned, you're going to feel the object with your hand. If you can actually feel the item that you wrapped inside the bubble wrap, say you still feel your vase, you feel the shape of the vase, you could feel it. That's not enough bubble wrap, so you have to keep adding more layers until when you touch it, you just feel a cushioning and a cocoon of bubble. So that's what your object is. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to place it in your box, and this is where it gets very important. So hold on one second while I get my box, and I'll show you what to do next. Now, there's something I forgot to tell you. You can also, which I highly recommend, cut up an old cardboard box and roll it around the item. So now you have more of a protective barrier. I just stuck a piece of rubber band there for now, just to hold it in place. And then you can actually protect the item more, so it's pretty much stable, and it's got extra shock absorbent going around it. And I highly recommend you double boxing it. And so that means placing it in a smaller box inside the larger box. And when you place it in the smaller box, make sure to add packing material inside that box to stop it from moving around inside the box and rattling around. If you don't have anything in there securing it into one spot, if it rattles around and moves inside that box, it's going to end up shattering or breaking. So now let me show you the main box and what you should do. So what you need to do is you need to have a box that's larger than your item on all sides by several inches. And so now I'm not showing you double boxing right now because I don't have the box that's smaller to fit into this. This is just an example. So say you taken your item, placed it in the smaller box to set into the larger box, and you secured it inside the first box with plenty of cushioning in there so it's not going to move around and rattle inside that box. Then you're going to place several inches of packing material such as packing peanuts or smashed up newspaper like this in the bottom of your box. And remember, several inches, not 1 inch, not 1.5 inches, at least if you can do 4 to 5 inches at the minimum, that would be perfect. The more the better, but then it'll raise your shipping costs. So that, you got to be a little careful. So after you place your packing material, your cushioning on the bottom of the box, several inches in, you're going to place your item in the center of that box. So it has room on this side, several inches on this side, and several inches on that side. And once you have that secured in there, shake your box so the padding material settles in all the places. And then what you need to do, now this is a very important part of this, is you need to fill every single open gap around your item so that it doesn't have a chance to move in there. If it moves and rattles around inside this box, and remember, it's going to get thrown, it's going to get kicked, it's going to fall off conveyor belts, it will break. Then when you have a 50-50 ratio, so 50% of the bottom packaging material, your item in the center of that box, you need to fill the rest of it with packing material, whether it be peanuts or wadded up paper. And remember, fill inside all the gaps going around the item. And your main objective is to get it to the very, very top of the box, right where the flap is going to close over. Because if you just fill your packing material up to, say, here or here, there's still this much room going all around the box for your item to move around and rattle around inside that box. You don't want that happening. Once you fill every single open gap and stuff everything really well around, shake your box, make sure everything falls into place and settles. And then what you're going to do is make sure your item is not able to move. Then you're going to close your flaps and seal your box. Now, another thing you need to tell your buyers is, say you're shipping glass or porcelain in the winter, and it's a very, very cold time of the year, like it's 40 degrees out or below. You're going to need to tell your buyer not to open the box as soon as they receive it. So as soon as they receive that box, they are not to open that box for at least 30 to 45 minutes, because what happens is, during extreme weather changes, so if you have an extreme temperature change, if it's coming from 30 degrees sitting in a cold postal truck for days or hours, and then you bring it into a warm environment that's 20, 30, 40, 50 degrees change, when you open that box right away and you start unpacking your item, glass and porcelain will crack. They all of a sudden you'll hear a popping sound, and they'll start to crack and get stress cracks all over it. So they need to know to thaw out the box for at least 30 to 45 minutes, if not longer, before they open up that box and start unpacking the item. So once again, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And good luck safely securing your breakables and fragile objects.